Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ad America TV. My name is Anton. I'm one of the e-guides here at Ad America. And Ad America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center here in Jakarta, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. Welcome to all of our audience joining through social media. You can leave your questions in the comment section. And before we begin tonight's event, I would like to start with an icebreaker question. And the question for tonight is, which one of these options is not a common technology to protect technological entities? Is it A, antivirus software, B, DNS filtering, C, ad blocking, or D, malware protection? I'll repeat the question one more time. Which one of these options is not a common technology to protect technological entities? Is it A, antivirus software, B, DNS filtering, C, ad blocking, or D, malware protection? You can answer this question in the comment section of our social media. Before we begin tonight's event, I would like to invite Tamara Grake, Digital Economy Officer from the U.S. Embassy Jakarta, for the opening remarks.
Selamat sore and good afternoon. It is with my distinct pleasure to welcome you to this evening's event, Wall Up, Maintaining Cybersecurity During the Pandemic. Our expert panel will discuss the risks associated with our highly connected environment and tips on how you can overcome those risks. We are delighted to have with us today Surung Sinamo, Country Manager for F5 Networks, Yudi Ardianto, Systems Engineer for Palo Alto Networks, Baltzazar Krisetya, Center for Strategic and International Studies. We sincerely appreciate their time and willingness to join our program today. I am happy that today marks the official start of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Now in its 17th year, National Cybersecurity Awareness Month is focused on raising awareness about the importance of cybersecurity across the globe, ensuring that all citizens have the resources they need to be safer and more secure online. This year's theme, Do Your Part, Be Cyber Smart, encourages individuals and organizations to take responsibility for protecting their part of cyberspace, stressing personal accountability and the importance of taking proactive steps to enhance cybersecurity. As it turns out, our greatest vulnerability to cyber threats is ourselves. 62% of the world is connected to the internet. That's 4.8 billion users and counting. If we are all not following best practices for cybersecurity, this leaves a massive vulnerability in our systems. You will hear today from our presenters these types of threats to look out for and what you can do to mitigate these threats for yourself. More importantly, what you can do to keep Indonesia's internet secure. Additional resources about how to stay protected, whether you're shopping online, teleworking, or anytime you're connected to the internet, are available at www.cisa.gov, National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I strongly urge all participants here today to listen carefully to what our experts say and immediately go home and share what you've learned with your friends and family about what you can do to improve your cyber hygiene in your home. The COVID-19 pandemic has increased our vulnerability to cyber attacks. We have seen a dramatic increase in hackers taking advantage of the situation and using the pandemic to spread malware and to launch phishing attacks. Why? We're all at home. Our kids are at home. Our spouse is working from home. We're using our home networks to do business and make financial transactions when normally we would be working and doing those transactions in a more cyber secure environment. We are all focused on the immediate health and well-being of our family and friends, but we're ignoring cyber intruders. Hackers know this too, and they have increased their attacks. One company found that 71% of all emails that you receive that say COVID-19 or Corona are actually malware attacks. Less than 30% of these emails are legitimate. We are opening these emails when we shouldn't. We're clicking on the attachments about COVID that are sent by criminals. We feel secure in our homes, but that doesn't mean we should let down our guard when connecting to the internet. And remember, we are all targets for cybercrime. And we should not assume that the technologies that we utilize are secure by default. They have security built in, but you have to turn it on. So in closing, I remind you that cybersecurity is all of our responsibility. If you remember that you're a target and cybersecurity is your responsibility, that will go a long way to keeping you safe and the rest of us safe during this pandemic. Thank you very much, and without further ado, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Ibu Tamara Greg, for the opening remarks. And now, to start tonight's event, I would like to invite our moderator for tonight, Dr. Devi Rahmawati. Please take it away.
All right, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat malam, salam sehat untuk kita semua. Summer break, spring with a gentle kiss. Pandemic just make people sick. Let's talk about cybersecurity and privacy with all these great panelists. Selamat malam untuk seluruh netizen di seluruh negeri yang hari ini sudah kembali bersama dengan @America untuk berdiskusi tentang maintaining your cybersecurity during the pandemic. Sebelum saya mengundang para pria-pria hebat dari dunia digital, izinkan saya membocorkan sedikit siapa gerangan mereka. CV mereka benar-benar mendebarkan, bangga rasanya bisa berkenalan malam ini. Okay, let's start with Mas Surung Sinamo. Starting October 2020, when this event is proposed for, Surung will be embarking on a new journey as the director at F5 Networks, an American company that provides products and services to help companies manage their internet protocol traffic and file storage infrastructure. Surung has over 24 years of experience in the areas of sales strategy, business, and product development, as well as solution management across a wide range of technology-related fields such as cybersecurity, cloud computing, data communication, and telco solution. As an ICT professional, he has seen how the technologies have evolved and changed how people and enterprises conduct their business and lives. And the second panelist is Mas Yudi Arianto. He is a system engineering manager at Palo Alto Networks, Indonesia. Yudi has a deep experience in network and information security for enterprise and telecommunication, especially for mobile operator. His knowledge and domain expertise make him as a senior architect for security solution. Technologies that have been deployed through projects in customers include firewalls, intrusion detection and prevention, load balancing, URL, enterprise network access, and many more. Yudi has delivered many consulting projects for enterprise and telecommunication. Consulting projects include Wi-Fi pen test, web app pen test, vulnerability assessment, and many more. He's one of the great guys here. And the third panelist is Beltazar, is a researcher at the Department of Politics and Social Change and knowledge manager at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS Indonesia. He has worked on EU-funded projects such as CRISEA, Competing Regional Integration in Southeast Asia, and Prodigies, promoting research on digitalization in emerging powers and Europe towards sustainability development, as well as CEA-focused projects such as Asian Cyber Norms Track to Diplomacy. He attended the Managing Global Governance Academy at the German Development Institute, as well as training for international diplomats at the German Federal Foreign Ministry. He holds an MSc degree from the University of Edinburgh, Scotland in International Relations, focusing on cybersecurity and digital politics, with his dissertation was on regional cybersecurity governance in Southeast Asia, which earned first-class honors. Nah, ini 3 pembicara yang super kece dan keren. Malam ini kita akan membicarakan isu seputar how serious or real are cybersecurity issues for everyday technology users. How do free security options compare to for-pay option? Or are cybersecurity issues universal or do they vary by region? Untuk itu izinkan saya mengundang Mas Surung Sinamo untuk memulai presentasi yang pertama. Silakan Mas Surung.
Terima kasih Mbak Dewi. Thank you. Hey, first of all, I would like to say thank you to @America for giving me a chance to present my presentation. Is my voice loud and clear?
Very clear. Great.
Okay. That's good. Thank you. So again, thank you for giving the opportunity to me. Thanks, Bu Devi, for very nice introductions. Yeah, thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Okay, can everyone see the screen? Yeah. So let me introduce myself. Like what Ibu Devi said, I'm the country manager of F5 Networks. Yeah, quite new, just new in the company, but very excited with the role that the company is playing with regards to cybersecurity. So I've given 10 minutes. Yeah, so this presentation is quite generic. Hopefully, can give us more awareness to be cyber safe during the pandemic. So let me start off with why cybersecurity getting more importance. Yeah, nowadays business, government, and individual lives are more digital. Yeah, we use a lot of things. I mean, companies, government are become more digital. The way they engage with their customers, their partners are mostly through digital, especially during the COVID. We see the accelerations of digitalizations in the companies and organizations. And with this adoption of technology, we see a lot of improvement in terms of, like, say, user experience, in terms of productivity, in terms of acceleration of expanding the business. But come with the technology also risk. We call it cybersecurity risk. Why? Because now everything becomes exposed to the internet. And when it's exposed, then cyber criminals now can reach out into our organization and steal our important and sensitive data. So this is one of the reasons why cybersecurity getting more importance. The second is the adoption of new technologies such as cloud, increase of connectivity with the arrival of 5G, for instance, smart internet-enabled device, IoT, social media, and online services make confidential and personal data become available anywhere. So in the past, to secure or to protect data is relatively easy. Why? Because the data contained within the data center, and the data center is protected with a lot of security tools that make sure all your information is securely protected within your organizations. But now, since the adoption of emerging technologies such as cloud, IoT, smartphones, and so on, our data and our users no longer stay within the perimeter. Data, users, and applications now move outside the perimeter. They go into the cloud. Now our data become available in the phones, in the IoT device. So now it's become the task to protect our important or sensitive data become harder, because now the perimeter is gone, and now we have to protect our data in the network, in the cloud, and as well in the endpoints, in the end user devices. Okay, and then the other reason why cybersecurity getting more importance is because of the attack, that the criminals are using are getting more sophisticated. They are leveraging the cloud. So you see now the attack coming is no longer like it's become bigger in terms of magnitude, because now the attackers are using cloud as well to attack. And then we see the automation it's become more popular. To launch an attack now become easier, faster, and as well as cheaper. And also the use of AI to really make an attack become very targeted. So we see the attack become more sophisticated, and therefore we need an advanced security tools and measurements, to really keep up with the more sophisticated attack. And the last thing is increased legislation of cyber. For instance, what happened in Europe, GDPR. With this GDPR, then in the past, security is kind of nice to have, but now the organizations or the company has obligations to really report when there is a cyber breach. Then within certain time they have to report it, and then they also have an obligation to appoint a data privacy officer, and then come with this also some penalty. Let's say if a company has been breached, then the company has to pay some penalty as well. So with this legislation, then it's come a mandatory requirement for companies and organizations to establish a cybersecurity practice. This legislation, I think, is also coming to us, Indonesia. So we are also working on the cyber bills. We call it Rancangan Undang-Undang Perlindungan Data Pribadi. So hopefully we will have one as well. That's why cybersecurity getting more importance. And then during the COVID pandemics, I think the cyber criminals have been using this to really make use of the timing, the unprecedented time, whereby everyone is in a panic. People start to move from working in the office. Now they move at home with less secure infrastructure, and organization is not designed to really cope with this kind of situations. So criminals have been using this moment, for instance, to launch a campaign, mostly around the topics of pandemics, So here are some examples, like what happened in the US, right? And as well as in the Russia, whereby the attackers try to steal informations on vaccines research. So this is a very important and very confidential information that hackers try to hack, And then there are a lot of phishing and ransomware campaign as well. So FBI says that during the pandemic, there's been 400% increase in reports of cyber attacks. So it's real, we have, I myself have customers that work in the banking sector. They say that the attacks that coming into the organizations is more than triple. So it's real. People try to make use of these situations to make benefits for themselves. So what are the attack factors? These are the attack factors that we are seeing widely used by cyber criminals. The number one attack factor is still phishing, because I think this is very low-hanging fruit, and this is no need. I mean, technology is really attack the user, the awareness of the user. So most of the phishing in a form of emails, they will title the email so it looks like it's COVID-related email, and since we are very eager to understand, to know the updates, the latest updates with regards to the COVID, then many emails users alert to open or click the email. So this is very massive, increase phishing email with COVID-19 related title. And then we see also malware distribution using coronavirus or COVID-19 theme to lure the victims. Mostly malware here is the objective of installing malware in the end user or the victims is to steal informations. And we also see ransomware quite increase during the pandemic. And then registration of new domain names containing coronavirus or COVID-19 related wording. So this is also increasing during the COVID. Many new domains has been registered with the naming related to COVID. So one of the use of this new registered domain then the cyber criminals will make a website. Looks like is a website, for instance, giving update on coronavirus, on the COVID. But then actually when someone visit the website, at the background, they already launch malware. So we see that is increasing as well. And attacks against newly and often rapidly deployed remote access or remote working infrastructure. Like what I said, organizations are not ready with this kind of situation. So they're quickly deploying a VPN. Yeah, they are quickly deploying cloud-driven services that not necessarily configured properly. So there are vulnerabilities that have been exploited by the cyber criminals. And by the way, this is reports actually originated by National Cybersecurity Center, UK, and CISA of the United States. And there are some sample of, let's say, phishing SMS. Yeah, this is one of the example. Like it looks like official come from the UK government. Yeah, with the subjects of COVID, and it can be COVID-AIDS. Yeah, maybe something to do with how the government can help their citizens. So when the citizens or the victim click this link, actually this is already directed to a malicious website, whereby when they are there, then the website will install malware to the victim. So this is another example of how a fake website, just one example, fake website whereby it looks like a website that can provide updates on COVID, but if you are searching in this website, actually they already install some kind of malware, and it's very dangerous. It's very, very malicious websites. And this is another sample of this is real, an email phishing that sent by looks like a very legitimate persons, yeah, doctor something, giving advice about COVID and so on. So these are the attack factors that we're seeing increase during the COVID situations. Maybe some advice, yeah, on how we can stay cyber safe during pandemic. One is make sure you take your password seriously. Yeah, make it unique. Don't make it very simple and very easy to guess. And also don't use it in multiple accounts. Yeah, because for instance, when your email account and password has been compromised, yeah, some people use the same password to another online accounts. And with automations, yeah, cyber criminals can quickly break your account, the other online account. So it's very dangerous and very important to keep your one password, one account. And then another practical advice here is check whether your email has been compromised. When the news, broke out during one of our e-commerce in Indonesia, whereby about close to 90 million record has been compromised, I quickly checked my email account and I found out it's been hacked. Yeah, and there are practical things that we need to quickly do, which is basically to change your password. And you can check whether your email has been compromised. There are free services that are available. You can go to Firefox Monitor, for instance. Have I been pawned website? And then you enter your email address, and then you can see whether your email address has been compromised. Okay, the next is to use MFA, multi-factor authentication, is very important, be it your private or personal accounts, especially companies or enterprise account. So I think free services like maybe email, Gmail, and other free online services. Actually, most of them already provide MFA, multi-factor authentications. This is very important, just in case your credential has been stolen, right? Since it requires second factor of authentication, the cyber criminals cannot access into your applications or your private data. So it's very important to activate that. And then the next advice is to click smart. Be careful with phishing or social engineering. Yeah, if there is an email, yeah, please make sure that you know the sender. If you don't know the sender, then be double cautious about it. And then if you are being asked to click something, don't quickly click it. Yeah, in fact, sometimes you can report it to your IT, to your friend. Make sure that this email is a legitimate. I will not click an email if I don't know the person who sent the email. Use VPN while online. This is very important because when you are searching in the internet online, you need to encrypt your data. You need to establish a secure connection, and VPN serve the purpose. So you can use, normally if you are work in enterprise, your company will provide VPN for you. Make sure you use it when you are online. When you are at home and you don't have access to VPN of your enterprise, you can buy VPN services, yeah, and make sure you use it and activate it, especially when you do banking transactions or important transactions. Yeah, make sure you use VPN. And then be careful with what you are sharing, especially your identity information, because sometimes we are now living in an application world. Every time you install an applications, they will request you to give your private or personal data. Be careful on that, yeah, because if you share your identity information, it can be used by the criminals to perhaps guess your password, yeah, because many people use, for instance, their birth of date as their password or their home address as a password. Make sure you don't give your identity informations freely and easily. Always keep your software's application, antivirus, anti-malware up to date and running. This is very important because we call in the term of 0 day, yeah. And we also, normally when the software is outdated, then there are vulnerability that's been exploited by the criminals. So make sure your software applications always updated. For instance, if you're using Zoom, make sure your applications on Zoom is the latest version. If you're using, Windows, Android, and so on, make sure you always update it to the latest version. Don't download anything from website you don't trust. I think this is basic hygiene. Be informed with the latest scams. It's very important. What are the scams that the cyber criminals are using? Make sure you are up to date. Back up your important data on a regular basis. When things get worse, yeah, when something happen, you still have your important data backed up. The next is 10 steps to cybersecurity for organizations. The previous slide is more on the individuals, personals, but I think this slide is for organizations. Therefore, it's more complex in steps. But I think this is a good framework for us to be, as an organization, to be cyber safe. Actually, this has been taken by from NCSC UK, government of UK. So it's a cybersecurity agency in the UK. So here it's very important to have a cybersecurity mindset within the organizations. cybersecurity is not IT or InfoSec team responsibility, but it's across the board, everyone responsibility. So make sure the first thing to do in the organization is to set up your risk management and got endorsement or support from the board. Some of the organizations now have what they call as CISO. In the past, some of banks, they don't have someone appointed to really look into cybersecurity end to end, but nowadays it's become normal. The CISO report sometimes to the IT directors, in a few cases directly reported to the CEO. So this is the most important thing, the first step. And then around it, then there are another 9 steps that we need to do, but I don't think I have time, but we need to make sure our network security is secured. Yeah, nowadays, not only network, but also cloud, because we also adopt cloud. User education and awareness, this is very important. In fact, the greatest vulnerability is in human. So we need to make sure our people are really aware on this cyber security. Malware prevention must be updated, use the latest technology, because the old and legacy malware prevention is no longer able to cope with the evolutions of new attacks. And then removable media controls, secure configuration, and so on. But one most important here is home and mobile working. We need to have a good, for instance, you must install antivirus at very minimum. Install antivirus in your laptops. I install VPN in my phone when I was outside of using Wi-Fi, for instance. I will use VPN instead of is a plain communications, and then make sure you are using updated software and applications. So these are 10 steps that organizations need to focus on for them to be cyber safe. One slide of who is F5, American company that specializes in application services and application delivery networking, or ADN. So we are make the application secure. We make the application always available and high reliability and high performance. So there are a few related solutions to security, such as DNS, Advanced Firewall Manager, Advanced Web Application Firewall, Access Policy Manager, Anti-Fraud, DDoS, SSL VPN. These all are security-related solutions. We have customers. Our customers are bankings, service providers, governments, commercial, public sector, and so on, to make their applications always in high performance, high availability, but also secure. Thank you, everyone. Last quote from me: we may be isolated, but we are not alone. We are in this together. Hopefully, we come back up stronger after the COVID. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mas Surung. What a very complete, fabulous material. Your advices to every individual about stay cyber safe remind me to one of the study that said human error is the cause of 20% of the data breaches. It's not always cyber criminals who are responsible for the data breach. According to IBM, almost a quarter of data breach could have been avoided. So it's all our responsibility to hear about what Mas Surung just said and presented. Okay, for the next presenter, it will be Mas Yudi.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Hello, Bu Devi. Yeah. Thank you, Bu Devi. Let me share my screen. Okay. Thank you, Bu Devi, for introduction. Yeah, my name is Yudi Arijanto as a System Engineering Manager based in Jakarta for Palo Alto Networks. So let me go through the key topic here. I would like to give us a thought on how we can increase our cybersecurity awareness, right? Especially during this pandemic, right? So let me start. This is just a fun fact. As you know, if we flashback 15 years ago, we still have received physical letters, right? And usually, okay, we receive letter is normal, right? But at that time, actually, internet is just about started, and when you receive email, wow, you feel like happy, right? You receive email from someone which is far away or different continent, right? You still, I mean, you feel very good in receiving those email. Imagine today, right? So if you receive emails, right, it's normal, and probably you have receive more than 100 emails per day, and probably you have thousands of emails that you never been able to read it, right? So it's normal now, but as you know, if we receive a letter, physical letter nowadays, it's become very weird, right? No one will do send a physical letter to you, right? We have emails, chat, right? So it's very different now. Now, how about now? Because this COVID-19 changed our life actually. Probably 6 months ago or 9 months ago, we still can have a discussion or with our colleagues, with friends in the office, right? And we can do teleconference in the office, right? And then now it's very different. Now we have to work from home, right? And even now, even Palo Alto Networks apply flexible working environment. So Palo Alto Networks given the flexibility for us to do our work from anywhere actually. So from home or from office or from any other places, right? It's a good practice because now we don't know when this pandemic will be, away. Yeah? And then this flexible work will be will continue until I don't know what time, right? So that's the fun fact. And then during COVID-19, I think a lot of innovation happening, right? As you know, this is the picture, right? In Singapore, as you can see, we see this dog, right? This dog is acting like a sensor and watching all the people here, whether they practice social distancing or not. So then the dog will take picture and send it to maybe law enforcement, and probably they get fined if they don't practice the social distancing. And second one, Coca-Cola, right? They create a vending machine. If you want to drink soda, you just scan the barcode or QR code, and from there you just pay online, and then here you go. You got your drinks, right? In Indonesia, we see a lot of startup, right? And during this pandemic, I think a lot of startup rocketed, such as HelloDog. Now people nowadays are afraid to go to hospital or clinics. So HelloDoc application is one of the easiest way for us to connect with our physician or a doctor, and we can do schedule right online, and it's very easy. Or also now all the business practicing touchless experience for the customer. Let's say parking, right? Now become touchless. or probably you go to a restaurant, right? There is no more physical menu actually, right? You just sit down in the table, and they will provide the QR code. Scan the code with your mobile, and then here you go. You can order all the foods from your mobiles, and then later they will serve it, right? So now it becomes very different. The experience is more taskless, right? And then you can see wedding through Zoom is now become normal, right? Or through Instagram, right? So it's now become new normal for us to attend wedding through Zoom, right? That's all about the innovation that nowadays more business now have to change, embrace the online digital platform if they want to reach out to a customer, right? We just did a cybersecurity survey across ASEAN countries. So this is the result of state of cybersecurity in ASEAN. So in this survey, COVID-19 is as a catalyst for digital transformation. And of course, with this digital transformation, there is a significant cybersecurity risk factor. And we can see from the survey, actually 87% agree that their organization digital transformation were accelerated because of COVID. So for example, now probably previously you go to bank to open a account, right? Bank account. But nowadays banks create a digital platform, so we can opening a bank account through mobile, right? It's very easy. So now all the business embrace the digital transformation, and even now they speed up all the initiative, and every line of product becomes more available online, right? Through digital and using cloud technologies, right? Of course, with this digital transformation, right, we see 4 in 5 of the survey say that this will create additional risk, opening new vulnerabilities. Of course, people are using more online platform, and then there is a insignificant cybersecurity risk that happening on right now. So this is some of the security incident or data breach happening in the regions. Right? As you can see in our neighbor, right, in Singapore last year, I think there is a Singapore hospital chain where they hit by data breach and leaking out all the patient personal information, including the prime minister. So it's the biggest data breach ever happened in Singapore. And also in manufacturing, as you can see in Thailand, in Vietnam, also data breach happening. And also, if you remember, one of our airline, Lion Air, they got a data breach as well. So all of the passengers' information, including names, emails, probably, and social security number or any car, right? Nomor induk kependudukan are leaked out in the internet, right? So this is getting become normal for all of us. So we will hear a lot of data breach happening in our country as well. If you remember, just like previously Pak Surung mentioned, one of the e-commerce, Tokopedia in this case, there is a data breach that happened to Tokopedia, and it is posted in the Twitter account under the bridge, right? That occur in March 2020 and affect 50,000 users. I think lately I saw more than 50 million users, and this data being sold in the market, and hacker will use this email, your sensitive information to launch another attack. Let's say spamming or maybe scamming, right? Scam activity, right? To get financial gain or any other bad intention. Right? Also, we see there is a database affecting 2.3 million our voters, right? And this is become serious also. If your data being leaked out and being used by other third party without good intention, and then it's very dangerous for all of us. So I think later, believe Mas Belsasa will talk about this, because now in our country we don't have data privacy law yet. So I think it's good that we will, if we have data privacy law, so our data, personal data, can be protected and not being used by hackers or cyber criminal in this case. Yeah. Now this is one of the domain squirting techniques, right? From previously mentioned, phishing attack is one of the most common attacks nowadays, and there are several techniques that are being used for this phishing. One of the techniques is mentioned here is typo squatting. So typo squatting actually this is a technique where a hacker tries to create a domain that really mimic the targeted domain. In this case, let's say whatsapp.com, right? But people sometimes mistype the letter here. WhatsApp become whatsapp.com, and people will they will ignore the error and then go on with this website, right? And also combo squatting, and this is one of the technique whether we can use popular trademark, right, such as Netflix, right? So if you are a Netflix customer, probably hackers try to create a domain name called Netflix-payments.com, which is not belong to Netflix actually. It belongs to somebody else, could be a hacker or cyber criminal. So they create this domain, right, to lure the user, to lure all of us to click the links and enter any private information such as username, password, right? So they can take your password and then go log into your Netflix account, and probably they get a free movie, I don't know, right? So number 3, homograph squatting. As you can see, sometimes we can see that there are some domains that are really similar to the well-known websites such as Microsoft.com, right? But in this case, they are using separate, different Unicode characters, because in computer is working bit and bytes, right? For this letter, so each letter is represented by unique bytes, right? And sometimes each country has different characters. Let's say some other country using different other characters, and then they are very similar. So it will lure the user, right, to ignore this different, even though sometimes we cannot differentiate whether this is a valid domain because of the letter is very similar to legitimate domain, right? So this kind of attack techniques that being used, and also level squatting domain. This is sometimes, as you can see, safety.microsoft.com, right? And there is a random character at the letter side. This also people usually ignore because they are using their mobile phone, right? When you click the links in mobile phone and you have very narrow browser and you cannot see the whole domain name. That's why people like, oh, okay, I only see the safety.microsoft.com and then I trust it, I click it, and here you go. You are being attacked, right? So that's one of famous domain squatting techniques that being used, right? This is a top 20 most abused domain because all of these domains very famous. You might be one of this. You are maybe a customer of this top domain and being abused by hackers, right? Because they believe that you believe that the domain is very similar, and then you just click it and hacker got benefits out of this domain, right? So be careful. People trying to trick you with similar domain names, but actually it's not legitimate domain. This is some of the tips for business leader, enterprise, more or less similar for that Pak Surung already mentioned. Since now we are remote working from home, then you have to move your protection from your corporate office to your home, right? So make sure make sure that the employee got similar protection in the home, right, while you are working. So I think more and more product and solution will fit to your home. I think maybe there is a product that can protect your home office actually. So that is coming in the future. So endpoint protection also is very important because as an employee you might work in all location, home, house, or any other location, and then we don't know what happened on the other side, right? Like banks, maybe they operate their their business remotely, right? And there are tellers or service officer that using their laptop at home and they are not technology savvy. And how you can protect that machine, right? Because that laptop or workstation could be connected back to the data center or the database, company database, and really endangers, right? So these are all of the technology that we can use to protect the user or the employee in this case. I'm not going to run through everything, right? As mentioned, like multi-factor authentication is common. Password is no longer secure, right? If you just only using password for sensitive application or sensitive document, then you are risking yourself actually. So in enterprise, mostly they will use multi-factor or one-time password, OTP using SMS and etc. Right? So I try to speed up. So for your personal cyber hygiene, make sure you use complex password, and also for your emails, you can use activate multi-factor authentication, right? Update system software as usual, right? Make sure that you don't click and download any application to your mobile phones, right? Sometimes if you have kids, they might try to download games in your mobile phones. We don't know. The game could be Trojan, could be something malicious application that could steal your personal information, right? One of the tips also, use incognito mode in your browser. If you don't know, you just search incognito mode. It will help you to protect your browser actually while you are doing financial transaction. Let's say you are doing internet banking, right? You want to transfer some money, just use incognito mode. Although it will not be 100% foolproof, but it is a good protection for you, right? So make sure you are connected to legitimate Wi-Fi, right? Don't connect to free Wi-Fi. We don't know what happened to the free Wi-Fi because somebody else might sniffing your password. This is a video of for you to, yeah, it's just a fun. How secure is your password? Right? Let's play the video. Okay, let me.
We're talking about cybersecurity today and how safe people's passwords are. What is one of your online passwords currently?
It is my dog's name and the year I graduated from high school.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
I have a Chihuahua Papillon.
And what's its name?
Jameson.
Jameson. And where did you go to school?
I went to school back in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
What school?
Hempfield Area Senior High School.
Oh, when did you graduate?
In 2009.
Oh, great.
It's like my cat's name and then just like a random number.
Okay. Has you had this cat for a while?
Yeah, she's my childhood pet.
Aw. And what's her name?
Her name is Jolie.
Jolie.
Mm-hmm.
So like a password of yours would be Jolie and then a number.
Yeah.
Like number 1?
Like my birthday.
Oh, when is your birthday?
June 12th.
Oh, nice. What year were you born?
95.
Oh, great. So Jolie, 6, 12, 95.
Yes.
Got it.
So you mean to give my password right now? No, I cannot do that.
But we all want to know what it is so we can tell you if it's strong or not.
Oh my goodness. Let me think. Okay, one is Tel Aviv. Yeah. 468. And then Israel. It's only 3, but it's for me it's strong enough.
Ireland, 1, 2, 3, 4. Gemma, 1, 2, 3. Spelled Gemma.
Well, most of them are Italian.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Like what's a good Italian password?
My grandma's name.
What's your grandma's name?
Oh yeah, now you know my password. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, right? So people are easy to give their password actually.
We're talking about cybersecurity today.
So to sum up, so we are Palo Alto Network is a cybersecurity company. So we have a lot of solution to secure enterprise, right? Mobile user, brands, offices, and so on. We also have a cloud security solution. If your company doing having application in the cloud, then we are able to secure those application. And also we have AI analytic to detect advanced threat, right, in your network. And these all 3 focus solution that be able to help enterprise to secure your employee, your user, your application, right? And also your data is very important. So that's all is from me. Thank you. Stay safe and be well. Thank you. Go back to Devi. Thank you. I think you are still on mute, Devi.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mas Yudi, for revealing all the digital underground secret. I hope your presentation does it inspiring all the netizens to do a cyber attacks. You know, cyber attacks and data fraud or theft are named as some of the biggest global risks right now. World Economic Forum Global Report last year outlines the biggest global risks, including natural disaster and weapons of mass destruction. In terms of likelihood, data fraud and theft come in a 4th, and cyber attacks are number 5. Cyber attacks rank 7 in the terms of impact. ahead of man-made environmental disaster and spread of infectious disease. The data is before the pandemic era, but that's why we're here tonight, because it's now being a biggest global risk. So let's move to our next presentation. Mas Beltazar, silakan.
Terima kasih, Mbak Devi. I will try to share my screen. There we go.
All right.
Right. So I believe that my two colleagues has helped us to be more aware of different kind of threats that we might and will eventually stumble upon in the cyberspace, and how to act upon it. So I believe that I will try to complement such helpful and useful advice that is very practical and applicable to us all, by not talking about the type of threats and how to identify them, but I will try to shift the focus a little bit on talking about rather on the environment in which such threat can flourish and be exacerbated, and as well as the state of current cybersecurity governance in national, regional, and a global scale. So these are the 2 points that I want to deliver for tonight. That the first, COVID-19 has exposed cyberspace vulnerabilities. It has some vulnerabilities before, but it now get highlighted as new way of using the cyberspace, and users' behavior has changed rapidly during the past 6 to 7 months. And the second point is that the current cybersecurity governance in the national, regional, and global level remains malleable and constantly evolving. And these two reasons brings sort of consequences to us and as an individual, and that makes the advisors, cybersecurity advisors that two of my colleagues has explained it to you, has become more important. So the first reason, the first story on cyberspace in time of a pandemic, I believe that Tamara Gray has stated in her speeches that COVID-19 pandemic does indeed increase the rate of cyber attack, and I believe Pak Surung also talks about increased dependency, adoption of new technology with a more sophisticated attack, and also increased demand for legislations. These are some few additional statistics which may illustrate the increase of digital activity on all fronts. We see the rise of online activities in e-commerce, on educations, obviously, as students move to cyberspace to resume their formal educations. In fact, we've seen 16% of increased broadband traffic during the pandemic, and also a slight decrease of internet speed as the bandwidth has faced some sort of a bandwidth stress test in Indonesia and global alike. So all these statistics have shown that during the pandemic, cyberspace has become the primary domain for communication and interactions between people and organization, rather than being a complementary one to the physical space. Basically, people have migrated to cyberspace temporarily. This also signifies the rise of new internet users, but also regular returning internet users that uses new services. So, for example, these regular internet users only use internet previously for social media and the likes, but now they have to learn new software. They have to learn new platform to adjust their daily lives in the cyberspace, such as learning how to use video conferencing platform and the likes. So, both of new users and new internet users are still familiarizing themselves with the new environment and might not be aware with the looming threats. And this has brought us to the problem of the digital divide. For those who are familiar with the term, I believe that digital divide is often understood as the difference between those who have access to internet and those who don't. But it is only at the first level which is the internet penetration divide. There are groups of people who have access to internet and those who don't. But on the level 2, there is a broadband penetration divide. So you might have access to internet, but how do you access the internet? Is it through 4Gs? Is it through fiber optic? Are you still using 3Gs or even Edge at 2Gs? Because the type of the system that you use to access the internet determines the speed, and this internet speed determines what kind of activities that you can do on the internet, because you can't really rely on a 2G or 3G network to participate in this webinar. For example, and the level 3 is the broadband affordability divide, because we've seen the variation of prices of data package across the region or across the planet. In fact, the statistics shows that people in certain countries has to work 76 days to obtain a new mobile phone or to afford 1 gigabyte of data, while in more developed countries, those numbers is shorter. So the consequences that it brought is that when in a more advanced region, such as Jakarta, that has almost 90% of internet penetrations, we can afford to talk about cybersecurity and new technologies, name it, be it as AI, blockchain, or machine learning. But the less developed region still on the debate of whether they're going to have access and internet that is affordable. So in a cyber threat situation where the mitigation relies on a security patch update, the more advanced region can afford to do necessary update because they have the basic infrastructures and the internet connection is affordable, while the less advanced region may be more prone to threat because they can't really afford to update the security patches on the software and apps and operating system. So, and also I believe that the proliferation of infodemics, such as hoaxes, half-truths, misinformations, it casts a fog of doubt in finding facts about COVID-19. I believe my colleague Pak Surung also mentioned that people are keen to find out new information about COVID-19 as our understanding of the pandemic develops. But the consequence is that the less digitally literate users may be more prone to fake phishing websites or email attachments that contains dubious health tips, which are actually a keylogger software. So, for example, there is a ebook circulated, seemingly circulated by the WHO, where it actually steal your personal data and send it to the perpetrator. This type of infodemic hoaxes, misinformations, it only clouds the supposedly clear sky of COVID-19 informations. On to the next reasons, on to the next stories. I would like to illustrate a bit on how has the issue of cybersecurity been governed at national, regional, and global level. So in my organization at CSIS, we're trying to map these types of cyber threat by categorizing it based on the degree of likeliness and sophistications. Sophistication here means the difference of methods, actors, cyber threat actors, and its impact to national security. But for now, since we can't really delve into details for the time being, let's just focus on the bottom part of the pyramid, which is a cybercrime. If you see this model, cybercrimes is the most frequent to happen and affect more people. That's why the size of the triangle is larger. The cybercrime includes data, identity theft, ransomware, phishing, online scam, and recently. I believe in Düsseldorf in Germany, a ransomware attack at a hospital has rendered the hospital system inoperable, and a woman had to be transferred around 20 kilometers away to another hospital, but sadly she didn't make it. So this might be, if confirmed, this might be the first case of death by cyber attack, and that which tells the gravity of threat development. So how has cybersecurity been governed, really? Firstly, let's take a look at the global governance. There is a contested governance model for cybersecurity. On one end of the spectrum, we see the likes of the United States, the United Kingdom, maybe India, that is using a more stakeholder-driven and let's say more inclusive with private actors in enacting the cybersecurity regime. And on other side of the spectrum, we see countries that in which the state oversees almost all aspects of the ICTs and try to control the development of new apps and new business models which relies on digital technologies. And somewhere around the middle, there is an I will say European model where it's based on with an emphasis on privacy and data protections. What are the consequences to us? The consequences is that the effort to build a globally agreeable norms and regulations to govern cyberspace and consequentially cybersecurity has been challenging because there is a contested governance model. Let's go to the regional level. ASEAN as an institutions, they want to develop their own models. They want to put emphasis on norms rather than actors. They want to be somewhere in the middle as well, but it's member states, they have different agendas. They want to go to different directions. There are states that wants to follow more the American model, the multi-stakeholder model, and there are states that wants to adopt more a state-centric model. And this contested governance has also renders difficulties in finding a consensus. Good things, we have a multifaceted cybersecurity cooperations. All the instruments are there, but if we make an assessment on 3 points, we make an assessment on ICT development, on digital economy dependence, on ICT security, we see that in Southeast Asian countries, the scores are so diverse, and they have a different capacity and capability to instill a robust cyberspace governance. To put it in pictures, we have what we call as cyber maturity. Some countries have high maturity, also have high government to business engagement, while some other countries are more nuanced in a way. So consequentially, there is still a lot of regional capacity building that needs to be done before a regional cybersecurity governance can be instilled and executed. Onto the national level, we have a fragmented governance. So we see that different government institutions are handling a different front or different function of cyberspace. The good thing is that cybersecurity is really a multifaceted issue. It's a multi-dimensional issue, and it's good to in delegating specific functions to its relevant ministries. But the bad thing is that there is a high challenge at coordinating and synchronizing efforts within ministry. Even some of the functions that its institution have might be overlapping to each other, because to my knowledge, there is no single cybersecurity institution or one single institutions that have the function of coordinating all cyber matters. BSSN have its own limitation. Polhukam has its own limitations, and so there is still a challenge. There's still a persistent challenge of coordinating the effort of creating a robust cyberspace. So what do we need, really? The first one is to bridge the digital divide. The key in doing this is to improve accessibility. Improving the availability of 4Gs will be a quick fix. We already have a plan to build, I think, 4,000 new BTS tower. Anyway, and Indonesia is a mobile first country as well as the region is a mobile first country rather than a desktop first country. Well, but in the long term, we also need to utilize palapering more for broadband connectivity, because I believe that cable is better than mobile in the long term. We also need to develop a regulatory clarity for business and individuals. Pak Surung and Pak Yudi have mentioned cybersecurity and resilience bill, personal data protection bill. Those are still in discussions, but the point that before those bills become law, it has to be inclusive. It has to accommodate the interests of public, the civil society organizations, and private actors, since most of the infrastructures and most of the users that constitute a cyberspace that builds what we know as cyberspace are owned by private sectors anyway, which is why I believe that private sectors maybe should follow the pathways of, let's say, Microsoft, who also in the past few years has took charge in trying to build a digital Geneva Convention to build an agreeable set of norms that state actors and non-state actors can agree upon. And also, one point to make here is that this regulatory clarity, those bills that needs to be passed, they have to also adhere to the principle of adaptive governance, because the growth of digital technologies often outpace the government ability to regulate. So I believe constant dialogue with stakeholders and regular review of such law to adapt with new technologies needs to be done. Like, we cannot stop at new laws, but how those laws can get constantly reviewed to at least follow the pace of the rapid pace of digital technology development. The third one is hastening development of national data centers. There has been talk about it. There has been candidates in which cities the national data centers will be built, because for the government, we need to synchronize the data that we have between institutions, but also national data center will ensure that personal data that are being stored by the government have their own geographical clarity, and so the regulations that we've talked before can have a physical reference, such in the case of bad or malicious cyber threats happen, that we can always have a physical reference in which we can salvage and back up the data. The fourth one, we need to harmonize cyber resilience guideline, but we also need to decentralize its implementation through technical experts and private actors. Pak Surung have mentioned national cybersecurity centers of the United Kingdom and cybersecurity infrastructure agency of the United States. They have released a guidelines with what they call as indicators of compromise for forensic identifications of type of threats. And BSSN, our own national cybersecurity agency, have also released similar cybersecurity guidelines on how to navigate your cybersecurity during the pandemic. But it's more of a suggestion, a recommendation, rather than a strategy to operationalize such suggestion. So, and I believe that government alone cannot cover all grounds. And so in operationalizing such guidelines, I do agree that it needs to be synchronized, but I believe that non-state actors, such as technical experts, private actors, civil society organization, needs to be involved, because after all, those actors can bridge between the government needs to regulate and people that have a diverse digital literacy. And finally, in terms of governance, I believe that we need to give mandate to one institution. We don't have to build another new institutions to coordinate, but just empower the already established institutions to coordinate all cybersecurity affairs that covers all matters, such as from technical authority to national security authority to data governance. And so the most likely candidate would be the current our current National Cybersecurity Agency. The model that can be followed, for example, can be like this. So the agency is central, is pivotal for all matters such as defense operations and joint task force, building cybersecurity culture and capacity, building cybersecurity regulations and legislations, and so on and so forth. And so finally, with all those stories that I try to convey to you, let's go back to the micro. Let's go back to our personal, what can we do on a personal level. I suggest that we go back to basic, because we've seen these advices many times now. There's a COVID-19 hygiene advice that revolves around wear a mask, maintain a safe distance, wash hand. There's a cyber hygiene advice. I believe that my colleagues have also elaborated more eloquently that we need to use stronger password and change it regularly. We use multi-factor authentications whenever possible and update security patches and software version. What are the likeliness? What are the similarity between these two advices? The similarity is that we've heard that a million times, but not everyone is compliant to it. Because it has been heard a million times, then we assume that everybody else has been doing it, and so we have lesser responsibility in doing so. Not everybody wear a mask nowadays. Not everybody can maintain a safe distance or wash their hands regularly. Just like not everyone is keen enough to change their password regularly or use multi-factor authentications. But it does make a difference, because the way I would understand cybersecurity is that it only takes one bad click away for malicious actors to cause disruptions in your devices, and a network computer system is only as secure as its most weakest link. So we have to assume that there is always a vulnerability, and the door for breaches can be from us. So I would suggest that we go back to basic and really actually do what the suggestions has been telling us to do. So I think I will stop here, and let's move forward to the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mas Beltazar. Yeah, a computer analyst in University of Maryland study said that a hacking attack occurs every 39 seconds. Can you imagine? But that stops there. I would like to open the Q&A section. So, wow, it's like what? 1,000,032 question. Okay, let's just take two questions. First question to, Mas Beltazar. It has always been campaigned that Indonesia is entering the Industry 4.0 era. At the same time, according to the official statement by the Ministry of Communication, we are still lacking of expert and technology in this sector. How far or how close do you see our readiness is to really cope with Industry 4.0? Please, Mas Beltazar.
I think the most important thing to do would be how to separate Industry 4.0 as the hype and as the reality, because most of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 jargon has been mostly overhyped, and let's say that some of the cutting edge technologies are still in the prototype phase and are not ready for a broader use as of yet. So how ready we are for Industrial Revolution 4.0? Well, how well do we understand, or do stakeholder understand and can differentiate between which of these new technologies are real and which are still a long way for in development?
Okay, thank you, Mas Baltazar. It reminds us that a couple months ago, when our electricity is down, it's like a doomsday. We're not talking about Wi-Fi. We're not talking about the sophisticated thing. When electricity down, everything is gone. So thank you, Mas Baltazar. The next question, it's okay. This is for Pak Surung dan Pak Yudi. Based on your data or experience, what are the most common problems or concerns that Indonesian companies have in regards with cybersecurity? How do you see it from your clientele? Mungkin bisa Pak Surung dahulu, silakan Pak.
Okay, let me try to answer. Yeah, so I think what we've been seeing in the industry, because cybersecurity, what I would say, is a big team, right? So in the past, where it's disjointed, the solutions that are in the market is really disjointed. Meaning, for one particular problem, then here come solutions. Another problem, another solution. So the solutions is really unintegrated. And it's actually create complexity when it comes to cybersecurity. When it become complex, then it's become less secure today. That's the reality. So like in the enterprise, they could be like, typically there could be more than 15 security solutions. Yeah, then if there is an attack, then it's very difficult to organize, to coordinate these joint solutions. And in the future, what we are actually would like to see is a more integrated approach, so-called platform approach, whereby one platform can do multiple functions, and therefore it's become more coordinated and more automations. Yeah, because when it become manuals, then we can't really compete with the cyber criminals by now using machines and so on, right? So automations is another thing that is really important in cybersecurity. And then, of course, the last thing, the introduction of AI and machine learning, because the attack is more sophisticated now. We need machine learning, we need AI to really go after this very sophisticated and maybe very, very stealthy type of attacks. Yeah, maybe that's from me. Yeah.
All right. As you know, a criminal always 3 steps ahead. So what do you think, Pak Yudi?
Okay. So I think Pak Surung has answered all already. So yeah, I think what I see in the enterprise, mostly enterprise are doing, compared to, let's say, 10 years ago, it's better, right? But also we see that implement the technology itself is only one part, right? We in enterprise we have also people dimension, right? The human, they need to be aware of cybersecurity, right? And also procedure, right? They need to implement correct process in their company, right? Such as governance, risk management, and I think that's part of the enterprise strategy, right? To reduce the risk, right? And I think basic common mistake that we see, yeah, as always, as Mas Besasa also say, the strongest, the security is always become, from the weakest link in the security, right? So I think if the human is weak, and then people just click one link and that's all, the company is gone actually, right? So one click from phishing email, actually in matter of minutes, the company is gone. We just need to wait, and hackers can leak data, right? So I think that's still the most common problem. But we see also with coming COVID-19 as a driver of digital transformation, a lot of companies are moving to cloud. They are using more cloud platform to actually to be agile, right? And speed, right? I mean, quickly set up their application or services online. So they must using cloud to speed up the delivery of the services, right? And we see the cloud in cloud, then the problem is also the same, right? I think they're using technology in the cloud, but also really don't know how to secure the cloud, right? And then it becomes a new problem for enterprise. So I think that's the biggest hype that we see. More company business using cloud technology, but also become big risk to the company. So we need to be able to secure the cloud, the application, the data itself, because that's where the big risk that we see now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mas Yudi. Talking about how enterprises try to reduce their risk, there is one study that very interesting. IDC study say that was, despite the massive threat that data breach represent, many organizations are not allocating much of their budget to securing data. From their study, half of organizations spend only 6 to 15% of their security budget on data security. No wonder if individual looks like doesn't really care about their private or data. It can show from the budget, even our organization, they less spend for the security budget. So we're gonna move to, I think it will be a last question. How safe are video communication application, especially during the pandemic? More and more people and companies use this platform. Ya, kita semua mendadak digital. Jadi, gimana kira-kira, how your opinion, Mas Beltazar? Silakan.
Okay. I think we always have to assume that every software or operating system has its expiration date. The expiration date being when the next update of such software or operating system is being rolled out. So I believe that the rule of thumb is that the newest version of the software or operating system is the safest one. And so whenever you have the chance, you need to update the security patches of your software regularly, because the current version of the software can only protect us from breaches for so long until new type of threat is being developed, until new actors have developed a more sophisticated way to breach the access, because to breach the vulnerabilities. Because we in the world of cybersecurity, I believe that we have to assume that vulnerabilities will always be there, and that an attempt for breaches is already being done by someone somewhere. So how safe is the video conferencing app, or any app for that matters? Well, how updated is your app? Is that app on your phone or your desktop? Thank you.
All right. Okay, I just want to add some statement, and I will ask for the last time Pak Surung dan Pak Yudi to give a comment about this statement. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg foreshadowed the current conversation back in 2010 when the company started making user data more public. He cites Facebook agile beginner's mind as he stated confidently that we decide that this more public style setting would be the social norms now, and we just went for it. If Mark Zuckerberg was right, does that mean the current privacy debate actually the sign of a rising social norm? Is confidentiality a necessary sacrifice for constant connection? What do you think, Pak Surung dan Pak Yudi?
Okay, to me, privacy is one of very fundamental human rights. Yeah. So, I would like to see my private data only can be accessed by myself and no other else. Yeah. So, if I have to provide access to with others, then it has to be under my consent. So I think then we come into this very important regulations that Pak Belsajar already give a lot of insight for us. But I think we should be the one who owns our data, and if a company keep our data, they must really follow the rules. How can they use the data? And I must have control on my private data, although maybe someone else kept it. Yeah. So that will be my comment, Bu Devi.
Thank you, Pak Surung. How about you, Pak Yudi?
Yeah, I think now privacy is a big concern for digital community, for all of us. Yeah, and also for our national security, right? Where I think the government try to limit the use of outside data center outside of Indonesia. That's why we have regulation to make sure that the sensitive data, right? Let's say our names, our nomor induk kependudukan, that is private information, right? Like Pak Surung mentioned, we have to control. We must have the ability to control our data. Regarding, let's say, Facebook or Google, right? They're collecting all of the information, but actually, as the user, right? The user of this platform, before we are using this platform, actually we are being asked, are you okay to share some information to this platform? Because if you don't click okay, then you cannot use, right? So yeah, we have to admit that you must be careful, read the user term agreement. If you are okay, then meaning you agree to share some data to this digital platform. If you don't to share your data, then basically as simple as it is, right? You don't use it, right? But one big concern actually, if we share the data, right, and the company like Amazon, Google, or whatever, Facebook, is there any protocol that we can, let's say, one click button, please delete all my private data? Can we do that? I mean, worldwide, technically, it's very difficult. Right? We don't know where the data is being stored. If we really want to show how can we show that the data is already being deleted, right? Because in computer, if you delete the files, actually the file's still there, and we can recover the files actually, because there is a forensic technique that we can recover all data that being deleted in the disk, right? So this has to be discussed in policy maker, right? It's beyond practical, like us, like me, professional. Right? It has to be discussed in regional and global level. I think that's my opinion, Bu Devi.
Thank you so much, Pak Yudi. Okay, everybody, I won't say much. After we hear all the great presentation, I guess we agree that we need new thinking and new concept to structure an interdisciplinary discussion about this issue, including science, technology, law, politics, and business, and formulate approaches that ensure protections of personal data as well as innovation in service and policy development. And for the last, I would like to remind all of you again of first and very simple protocol for every individual before we talk more broad level. It's about your password. Like our friend in ICT Watch say, Password is like underpants. Change them often, keep them private, and never share them. So if I just start our discussion dengan pantun, untuk menutupnya saya juga akan menggunakan pantun. Ingin jalan-jalan di masa pandemi corona, tidak lupa selalu cuci tangan. Terima kasih kepada At America yang selalu hadir dengan topik-topik bermanfaat. Thank you semua. Selamat menikmati malam-malam yang indah di masa PSBB. Semoga kita semua dapat segera terbebas dari perangkap pandemi corona ini. Selamat menikmati diskusi-diskusi berikutnya di At America. Thank you Pak Yudi, Pak Surung, dan juga Mas Beltazar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Okay, I would like to thank our speakers and also our moderator for the amazing discussion that we had tonight. I hope that we're now more aware about our cyber hygiene and also how to keep our private data on the internet secure. And now, earlier in the event, I asked you guys an icebreaker question, and that question was, which one of these options is not a common technology to protect technological entities? Is it A, antivirus software, B, DNS filtering, C, ad blocking, or D, malware protection? And the correct answer is C, ad blocking. Unfortunately, nobody got the answer correct for tonight, but don't worry. If you want to participate in more quizzes, we will have more quizzes in our upcoming episodes, so stay tuned. And now you might be wondering, how can you develop an awesome idea for a place like this? Well, wonder no more. You can come straight to our website at www.atamerica.or.id, click create an event, and then collaborate with us and submit your proposal there. All proposals will be reviewed, and your event might just end up here very soon. And while you're on our website, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter for more information about our upcoming events sent straight to your inbox. And don't forget to follow us on social media at AT America and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Well, folks, this has been Wall Up, maintaining your cybersecurity during the pandemic. I hope that you guys had fun. And I would like to thank everyone for tuning in, and we hope to see you again at the next At America TV event. Stay classy, everyone.